Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic, and I want to welcome you to my channel, Opinion Stated, where I give unfiltered, opinionated sports takes. Let's go. Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic, and I want to welcome you to my channel, Opinion Stated, where I give unfiltered, opinionated sports takes. Let's go. Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic. I want to welcome you back to my channel, Opinion Stated. Hey, let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers and go back east. C's for Cleveland. I gave them a C. Re-signed Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill was definitely a decent player coming in off the bench, but they lose Ty Jerome, lose Isaac Okoro. Ty Jerome was big for them coming off the bench. I feel like if you have players go down, like we saw, players going down in like Darius Garland in the playoffs, and then you even saw Spider Mitchell kind of a bit banged up, where he would miss some time, in the postseason, or just play unlike himself and need extended time off the floor. You have players like Ty Jerome who could come in and spell them. I like that they added Lonzo Ball from Chicago. I like that they added Larry Nance Jr. from Atlanta. I like the additions. I like Lonzo especially because I feel like, man, Lonzo has been, it just feels like Lonzo has not played basketball in like 5 years or so. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hoping that, I'm talking about health again, hoping that Lonzo can stay healthy, man, and actually contribute. I think that he can contribute, here in Cleveland. So I'm excited to see him come in. He's more of a facilitator than Darius Garland specifically. But even if he's coming in to just run the second unit, then it kind of helps them not to have a lot of tail off. So that you have somebody who's out there kind of smart and not just kind of getting up and down. Obviously, DeAndre Hunter's still there to add some punch off the bench as well. They lose Isaac Okoro, but Isaac was really kind of struggling to crack the rotation, especially after they brought in DeAndre Hunter. So it'll be interesting to see what Cleveland looks like. I'm just grading Cleveland's off-season moves as a C, not necessarily their overall roster, just sticking to the off-season. Moving right over to the Charlotte Hornets here in the Eastern Conference, and I gave them a letter grade of a B. They re-signed Trey Mann, bring in Pat Connaughton, Spencer Dinwiddie, Mason Plumlee, and Colin Sexton from Utah. So I like the pieces that they've added to give Melo some help, you know what I mean, out there in Charlotte. So I graded him a B. You know what I mean? I just like the idea of at least putting in pieces that don't just give you trash on the bench, right? So you have enough depth, I feel like, to make your practices competitive, to have players slide over and fill in when you get injuries. I think that the trajectory is actually, I mean, obviously, it's headed upwards for Charlotte, and LaMelo's career definitely is trending in an upward direction as well. So they lose Yusuf Nurkic and Misic, but they ain't losing nothing in that regard. Let's talk about the Boston Celtics as we stay here in the Eastern Conference. And the Boston Celtics, I oddly enough graded a B plus for their offseason moves as well. And I know I sound like a sweet teacher, bro. You just, man, all you got to do is just show up and I'll give you an A. That's what it kind of seems like here. But hopefully the explanations, here are just, kind of making sense. But obviously the Boston Celtics, have to face head on this injury to Jason Tatum. That's not a thing that, can be glossed over. Jason Tatum, blew his Achilles and, has had the surgery. He's in recovery. It is what it is. Kristaps Porzingis, they dealt away. Kristaps has just been hurt for the last couple of seasons. He won a championship with them. played like one quarter brilliant or first half brilliantly, dropped 20 points in like game two or something of the finals, and everyone was like, "Man, I'm telling you, what Kristaps man is playing when he's healthy." And then Kristaps is Kristaps, but he hasn't been healthy. Last year wasn't even about his physical health in terms of his limbs or any of his extremities. It was some kind of like weird respiratory thing, and I don't know what's going on with Kristaps Porzingis. So they got rid of him. Luke Cornett also. Luke Cornett was really active off the bench for Boston. The Luke Cornett minutes were actually very, very valuable minutes, which I'm going to talk about. Being excited about the Luke Cornett minutes being available now that he's gone. They got rid of Drew Holiday as well. Obviously, they had to do a lot of salary dumping to get themselves and keep themselves away from that second apron. And so they had given all this money out to Kristaps and obviously to Drew, or took on this money. I think they actually did give Drew a pretty decent contract when he came over because he was a part of like the Portland thing and something or another. So they just had to clear some money. So it makes sense as to why they did the thing, right? But as I let in, the Jason Tatum injury, it's not a thing to be glossed over. So how do you stay competitive this season while Jason's away and knowing that you still have to dump some of this money off your books? Well, I think they did it. You know what I mean? Bringing in the minivan George Niang from Cleveland. George Niang was another one of those guys that just in his minutes off the bench for Cleveland, or he was, very, very vital minutes, very valuable minutes. They bring in Luka Garza also. Not really sure what Luka's going to add. Anthony Simons they bring in from the Blazers. Anthony Simons, I really like this pickup of Anthony Simons. So I think that that's going to be an instant impact in terms of a signing. And then also Josh Minot. Now, I mentioned Josh Minot when I was talking about Minnesota because I really like this kid, man. I really, 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 really like this kid as a basketball player. And I think that he benefits from the Luke Cornett minutes now being available. You know what I'm saying? So Josh Minot in those minutes that Luke Cornett, was benefiting from, man, I think Boston did a great job with, kind of filling in the pieces here and picking up the pieces and the absence of Jason Tatum that they're going to miss, obviously, until he returns. Moving right along to the Atlanta Hawks. Everybody in the media is like, Atlanta came up. They did the thing. Oh, I'm so excited about the moves. And I'm like, fuck, what the fuck did they do? This is just me. You know what I'm saying? So where I've been maybe higher on other teams that I shouldn't be, clearly, I don't give a fuck. It's Atlanta. I just don't see it. You know what I'm saying? They added Nickeil Alexander-Walker, obviously. Do I not like Nickeil Alexander-Walker? Ain't about me liking him or not. I do think that he's a decent basketball player. I just don't see how this fit in Atlanta. Is like, man, this is exactly what he needed. He needed to like get down there with Trey, and I could be wrong. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully I'm wrong. I don't mind being wrong in that regard. They bring in Luke Kennard, sharpshooter. They bring in Kristaps Porzingis also. Again, you need Kristaps to stay healthy. If this was like a move where it's like you get a healthy Kristaps Porzingis, who for the last 3-4 seasons has at least looked like, damn, him always being banged up hasn't been, the reality in the last 2-3 seasons, then I'll be a lot higher on this move because it involves Kristaps Porzingis. But I'm just not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just allowing the track record to be what it is, and I'm saying I'm not impressed. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you just can't get excited for the name.
Like it's Porzingis, though. You know what I'm saying? You know what he could do.
It's like, yeah, if he's playing, but as they say, the best ability is availability. And so they lose Clint Capella, obviously Karis LeVert and Larry Nance. Again, I'm just not high on Atlanta. I want to talk about kind of what they're, and it's not that they don't have a good team. I'm not saying that I don't think they have a decent group of players on the team. I'm talking about the offseason move. I'm just saying let a great seed to the offseason move. I'm just not that impressed with it. You know what I mean? But the potential for their starting lineup being Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, who I really like, Jalen Johnson, who I really like as a basketball player, Kristaps Porzingis, if he's healthy, and Okongwu at center. Again, I think that this is a decent roster. It's a really decent roster. They have Zachariah Richer coming in off the bench and some other, really good players coming off the bench. Obviously, again, like I said, they added Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Asa Newell, some of the others. So it's not that they have a bad roster. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I don't expect them to be competitive this season. I'm just talking about solely the offseason moves at that letter grade of a C. Man, that's been the basis of this episode. I just wanted to go through, these teams. I didn't talk about every team, like I said, man. So let me know if you agree. Share your opinion and comment. Also, like the video if you haven't done so as well. Man, I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Until then, take care of yourselves. Blessings.